Hello and welcome back. My name is Kabira and this is my YouTube channel, Kabira Speaks. Okay, so first of all, the reason I'm dressed in this outfit, because I'm going to goth night later. So, it's not like super gothic what I chose, but I did the best with what I had. And most importantly, I didn't go out and buy a whole new outfit that I will wear one time, which is something I'm guilty of doing. So, yeah. I'm going with my friend Elizabeth. We're gonna have a lot of fun. I'm waiting for her to get here while I make this YouTube video. I should tell you, I'm also dog sitting, so hopefully there's no barking. Pray. Got a little barker here though. But anyway, I'll show you my makeup. I have these really cool heart glasses. Let me show you really quick. But I can't wear them because I have to wear these are prescription. I have terrible vision. These ones are the cuties I was gonna wear, but I cut up a jalapeno earlier. Because I'm making tacos for my friend. And then I tried to put my contacts in and it was a horrible disaster, like instant shooting pains, howling on the floor, terrible. So I'll have to wait a while to wear these cutie pies. Anyway, so today's video is about me getting diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I was recently diagnosed with bipolar 2 about 2 months ago, maybe 2.5 months ago. I went in for an ADHD evaluation and I came out with a bipolar 2 diagnosis. However, I was not upset. If anything, I was just relieved because I had already suspected that I had bipolar 2. So to be diagnosed, it was just really like affirming to me and validating, and it made me realize like you were on the right track all along, despite what other people may have said. I knew there was a problem, and getting diagnosed just meant that there was a solution. No. Shh. Shh. I'm babysitting a corgi. Be quiet. You have to be quiet. Shh. You want to say hi? No. This is Love. She's my best friend's pup. Say hi, Love. If you're gonna make noise, you might as well say it to the fans. Are you gonna be quiet for this vlog? Does that look like a face that's gonna be quiet? You got some weight on you. Maybe if I hold you, you won't bark. Okay, so yeah. Diagnosed with bipolar 2. I went in for an ADHD evaluation because my life was falling apart. And I knew that something was wrong, but I wasn't sure what it was. No, that's not true. I kind of knew what it was, but you're not supposed to diagnose yourself. I had a pretty good idea though. I'm very introspective, and I'm also a mental health professional. I wonder how much this dog weighs. You gotta be quiet. You gotta be quiet for the vlog. Please. I let you down while you bark. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay. So I've always been like a sad individual, right? It turns out the reason for that was because of my family. So I realized not that long ago that I had been a victim of emotional abuse growing up. A very specific form of abuse known as scapegoating abuse. Scapegoating is when you have one or more narcissistic parent who chooses a child in the family system, in the dysfunctional family system, to be the problem child, essentially. This child will be ridiculed, criticized, left out, made fun of, ostracized, humiliated, etc., etc. So that was my childhood. I knew that was how things had been when I grew up, but I was growing up, but I didn't realize that like that constituted as abuse until a couple years ago. Well, actually about 1 year ago. So being treated that way as a child resulted in me having a lot of self-loathing. If you've seen any of my other YouTube videos, you might have heard me talk about self-loathing before. Something that totally goes against the self, but it's something I've experienced forever, and I know now that's because of my parents. Another thing that you get from growing up in a household like that or with parents like that is you might self-harm, low self-worth, lack of self-preservation, difficulty asking for help or difficulty speaking up for yourself, depression, anxiety, etc., etc. Even suicide ideation or just not wanting to be around anymore. So I would say all of those things I went through or experienced, and now I understand that those symptoms are what's known as CPTSD, or complex post-traumatic stress disorder. No. Complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So I must have gotten that as a kid. So the difference between PTSD and CPTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder is brought on by one traumatic event, like a car accident or seeing someone die in front of you, or any of the many things that can traumatize a human being. CPTSD is complex because it's the result of several traumatic incidences over and over and over again. So that's what would happen to me, like every time I was screamed at or ridiculed or humiliated, like those were all traumatic things for me that would just stack up and up and no! Shh! Stack up and up and up, resulting in all of the symptoms that I described, and then some. The reason I talk about that, it's just not an easy thing to talk about, is because even though I had endured that trauma, and then, you know, when I went to college, I was sexually assaulted, endured that trauma, even though I had been deeply traumatized for years and years and years, I was still able to function and be successful and go to school full time and work full time. I was living on my own, paying all my bills. I was on top of things. Even though I had already been through a lot of things, even though I had already experienced depression from a young age, is why I mention all that stuff. Things started to really take a turn after I went to graduate school. So I went to grad school for social work in 2017. And although I was able to finish my master's degree program, it was around that time that I started making like really terrible decisions, like meeting up with someone from Craigslist, for example, or just putting myself in risky, dangerous situations that it would just make your ears bleed if I was able to tell you. But there's like it's too embarrassing to share. But I've put myself through some shit, basically. And then after I had graduated with my master's degree, I realized I couldn't maintain a job. So I had gotten a job as a mobile therapist, and I quit. And then the pandemic happened. And then I was up a creek without a paddle, and I had moved in with my boyfriend at the time, and that was just, well, it wasn't great. We just had very starkly different views on everything, and that was when George Floyd was murdered by the police, and Black Lives Matter movement was really in the public eye, and it was a very stressful time for me and for everyone else. I obviously know it wasn't just me who was dealing with stress during 2020 and above, but it was very stressful for me. Oh, love is being so good right now. Good girl. Yeah, but I had moved in with my boyfriend at the time. We quickly broke up. I was under a lot of stress, unemployed, or working serving jobs. Then I got back into my social work field. I got another master's level job, and as I shared on my YouTube channel, I started messing up again. Couldn't do it. Couldn't keep I couldn't maintain the tasks that I needed to do to be successful in that job. I do still work there. They've been really great with working with me, even after I've messed up so many times. I'm actually currently on probation. So I had shared a video where I got demoted. Now I'm on probation for doing something, for messing something else up, like not responding to somebody's email. And it was my career and my job that made me realize, like, there is something wrong here, okay? And you're not dumb and you're not lazy. It's something else. And although I did have those thoughts, like trying to internalize the problem as myself, I also have enough optimism to think that there might be something else at play, and that there might be a solution. So I started looking into things, and I came up with ADHD, which fits the bill, and bipolar 2. So about a year ago, I mentioned to my new psychiatrist that I thought I had bipolar 2, and she really just was like, well, we don't really need to get you on, we don't really need to do anything about that right now. Let's just get you back on your Lexapro, which is an SSRI for depression. Let's get you back on your Lexapro and we'll see what happens, is basically what she said. So I got back on the Lexapro, which I had taken a while back for anxiety and depression. I got into therapy, which she insisted upon. She insisted I be in therapy, which I understand, because I did come to her saying, like, oh, I've been through this and this and this and this and this. And she's like, you need to be in therapy. And I'm like, I know, but it's expensive. So I got into therapy, hated my therapist. Her name was Ellen. I literally hate her. We only talked on the phone, and I had to Venmo her every time. And you're not even supposed to be able to do phone therapy anymore. Like, that was just a COVID restriction, and that's no longer a thing. So I don't know how she was able to, like, bill for services for that, but she did. And she just wasn't a good therapist. Like, I sent her text messages that I wanted her to see, and she'd be like, oh, I got the gist of it. And it's like, no, I wanted you to read them. That's why I sent you the amount of text that I sent you. It just felt like a really not a good relationship to me. And like I said before, because I am a mental health professional, it's really difficult for me to receive therapy. I'm very jaded, and like, I already know what you're about to say, so don't even say it. That's how I am, unfortunately. So I hated Ellen. I hated therapy. Ended therapy. However, things were still shit for me. Like, I would have good periods where I'd be able to do my work successfully and enjoy it. Then I would have bad periods where I would cancel, and I would be at risk of getting in trouble. I say cancel because with my job, I plan my own schedule. It's not like I call out. I don't have to call out. I have to just cancel with my sessions. So I was doing that a lot because I was depressed. And I was looking for answers. Bipolar 2 seemed to be, it just seemed to fit me. And I talked to a few people who were close to me, and they said, I don't see that in you. And because it's really hidden. Like, the only person who knows me all the way 100% is me. And I know the things I've done, I know the things I've said, and the situations I've been in and put myself in and gotten through, and it definitely 100% checks out. I still think I have ADHD also. But anyway, so let me tell you what bipolar 2 is, because I don't think it's like super well understood. So bipolar is a mood disorder. Everyone has mood fluctuations, that's normal. Bipolar 2, your moods are gonna fluctuate more than the average bear. And bipolar 1, which is like a more severe version, or bipolar 2 is a less severe version of bipolar 1. And bipolar 1, it's characterized by mania. Mania is a severe state in which you might spend thousands of dollars, move across the country, start a new business, start demolishing your house in the middle of the night, or maybe even have manic delusions or feelings of grandeur. So that's mania. Bipolar 2 doesn't have mania. That's why it's different from bipolar 1. Bipolar 2 is something called hypomania, which is like a lesser version of mania. Now that I've definitely experienced. I've never spent thousands in one go, but I do currently owe like 20,000 in credit cards for spending. when I'm in that hypomanic state. Other things I've done, like I said, like meeting up with someone from Craigslist, having sex with people that I wouldn't ordinarily have had sex with, like just not being me. I don't even really I really don't even like hookups. So the fact that I've had so many is something that really distresses me, and I can look back and be like, oh yeah, you were probably hypomanic when you went out and like found those people on Tinder or wherever I found them. But the hypomania, it's not as frequent as the depression, for me anyway. Bipolar 2 can be different for different people, but for me specifically, I do get those periods of hypomania where I might make risky decisions or be a lot more, may feel a lot more vibrant, energetic, need less sleep, I'm more creative. I'll have like more goal-oriented projects in mind. Pretty sure I was manic when I made this collage because it's like extremely detailed and I stayed up all night to make it. But the depression, the hypomania is not that, I mean, it's bad because sometimes you make bad decisions, but it's the depression that's what brought me to get help. Because the depression is crippling and I cannot function when I'm like that. And so the depressive episodes can last anywhere from a week, 2 weeks, a month. I don't think I've been in a depressive state like that for more than a month. I usually seem to pull myself out. Although looking back, maybe pulling myself out is actually hypomania. I still have so much to learn about this disorder. But it makes so much sense for me, and I'm not embarrassed or ashamed to have it. It just makes me understand myself more and why I've made the decisions I've made. Excuse me. And it gives me a lot of hope that my life can be better now. Because I've always been a square peg in a round hole. And now I understand that and how I can fit in, function better and be able to actually get stuff done. Because I can't operate the same way that someone who has a stable mood does. I'm going to have to work with my waves and learn how to predict them, learn how to control them, and when it comes to hypomania, learn how to harness that energy. Because that energy that I have, it's actually brilliant. It's creative, it's energetic, it can be fun. It's not the end of the world. It's a gift, actually. But it comes with the price, being those low points and being that depression. So yeah, so that's what bipolar 2 is. That's what it's like for me. And let me quickly just tell you about how I got diagnosed. So, like I said, I suspected I had ADHD. I still do. I still think I have ADHD. I went in, you can watch my video about the exam, took all these tests. Some of them were like brain tests, and the other of them were like self-questionnaire questions. And I guess those are probably the ones that flag me for like PTSD and bipolar disorder. The one thing about Ellen, my therapist, who I began to loathe and hate and despise, she did think I had she thought I had a mood disorder. So that was the one thing she was good for, was I thought it originally. My psychiatrist didn't believe me. But my psychiatrist only talked to me for like 25 minutes. And that was it. So she didn't know me. I did pour my heart out to Ellen for hours and hours for a few months. And after that, Ellen was able to say, I think you might have a mood disorder, which prompted me to look into getting tested. I couldn't find a bipolar expert, so I went to an ADHD expert, and that was the test that her name was Dr. Greenwood. Oh, love Dr. Greenwood. I'm so grateful to her for actually doing something. She was the first one to do something for me. So she gave me a very thorough assessment. She said I'm really smart, and she does think after my bipolar disorder is treated, that I can come back and be reevaluated for ADHD. And quite frankly, now that I'm medicated, the depression has definitely subsided. But I'm still very scatterbrained and late, so I still think I have ADHD. But anyway, so Like I said, psychiatrist blew me off, therapist recommended, went to a neuropsychologist, Dr. Greenwood, where for ADHD, where I was then diagnosed with bipolar 2. From there, I went back to the psychiatrist, Antoinette Ducre. Curse you, Antoinette Ducre, for not helping me. I went back to Antoinette Ducre, psychiatrist, and I said, I've been formally diagnosed with bipolar 2 disorder. And she said, buzz off, I don't care. I'm not giving you medicine. Essentially is what she said to me. I started crying, I was so angry. I was like, why aren't you listening to me? You don't know me. I know me, these doctors know me, you don't. So why do you refuse to help me? It was so bad. I'm like really not an angry person, but I like wouldn't make eye contact with her, and I left in tears. And she finally was like, we can't see each other anymore. And I was like, bitch, you think? In my mind, I would never say that out loud. But anyway, so after her, I was so discouraged. I gotten diagnosed, made an appointment with her, was so discouraged that she was not going to help me. It took me about a month and a half or a month to find a new physician to work with me. So then I found Edwin, sweet Edwin, who is a psychiatric nurse, and he also was a prescriber. So I met with Edwin. I sent him the evaluation that I had already had. It cost me a couple $100, like, so it's, I mean, not saying the money always makes things legitimate, but like, she was very legit, very thorough. I sent him that evaluation, and he evaluated me, and he came up with bipolar 2 as well, and also CPTSD, which I already knew. And ultimately, I already knew a lot of things. I already knew I had bipolar 2. I already knew I had PTSD, and I'm pretty damn sure I have ADHD. And all along, I've had people telling me, like, you can't self-diagnose, which I know is true, but also, I was right. And if I hadn't kept pursuing these things, I would still be in the same boat I was a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, which would be nosediving my life into the ground. So trust your gut, seek help if you can, if you need it. That's what I had to do, and I finally feel like I'm on the right track. It's been a long time coming, and like I said, I'm still on probation on my one job, and I have another job which I work there full time, and I have an interview, like a couple other jobs which I'm interested in because I'm not making enough money right now. My one job where I work full time, I really enjoy it, but like, pays me beans, and I need more money, but I can't make more money if I'm unstable. So I really had to do this and pursue this for myself. And if any of this resonates with you or sounds familiar, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you. I've learned so much. I had to educate myself so much on a lot of things, on scapegoating abuse, on bipolar disorder, on CPTSD, on how to receive services in for your mental health. Even though I work in the field, it's so different on the other side, and it is a privilege to be able to get tested and to be able to take time out of your work schedule and to pay for things. And there's just so many people who are underprivileged who wouldn't be able to get the help they need, and that's really unfortunate. So, my long-term goals, I hope to be able to someday help people who like that, like, people of color and people who don't have the resources to get the treatment that they need, like myself. But I'm really glad that I was diagnosed, and love is just being a little angel. Things are going to be better for me. I started taking Abilify 5 milligrams like about 3 weeks ago, and I haven't had a depressive period since then. I will make a full video on the medicine. Not right now, because my friend will be here soon, and we're gonna have tacos and go out. And look at that! I have a friend. We're going out for tacos. We're going out for goth night. My life, like, even though since I started making these YouTube videos, and uncover it, since I started Kabira Speaks, I came across my rapist. I know I had been raped, but I uncovered it again and like dug it back up and actually healed from it. I discovered that my family life had been abusive, and I had to stop speaking to my family for almost a year, which was horrible but necessary. And I found out all these things about me up here, which were holding me back and making it impossible to succeed. And now that I have opened all these things in Pandora's box, which can never be put away again, open them up, ready to deal with them. I'm ready to move forward. And I'm so optimistic. Like, things are about to just take off for me. This channel is about to take off. My life is about to take off. And it's because I had the courage to dive into those things, even though they were extremely painful. And it's still painful. My family's like all messed up. My friends are my family. I love my family. I've had to work through a lot of things. I do love my mother. I love my father. But yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I had to work through a lot of stuff. I'm still working through it. The trial was canceled. The person who raped me is just gonna get away with it. Thank you, America. But I'm medicated now, and things are gonna be a lot better. So yeah, that's it. And I'm going to be talking a lot more about bipolar disorder and my experience and my journey and how things are going for me. So like I said, if that's interesting to you, please like and subscribe. If that's not interesting to you, well, at this point, you probably know that. So, well, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Yeah, that's it for now, I guess. If you have any questions or comments or anything, you can comment or message me or whatever you want to do. And I'll be right here. And I'll see you guys soon. I'm going to be talking about my medicine next and how it affected me, and whatever else is going on with the old Tinker Tank. Okay? All right, I love you. Bye.